NASCAR, why are you doing this to me? We're 2 races in, and I'm already sick and tired of your officiating. Ah! Like how? How? Oh, come on. We were going to have an encore. I was planted. I was firmly seated. All right? Look, I was seated in position, prime position, hands on butt, legs up, sweating profusely. Not that it matters, but regardless, I was seated ready for an encore performance, and that happens. Okay, welcome back everyone to the episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Jeez. Alright, first off, let me just say this. We're gonna break this down into 3 things. Number 1, I love Atlanta. Atlanta is what super speedway racing should be. Number 2, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a line out the door, kind of like the Salty Splatoon and SpongeBob, of everyone just wanting to beat up Carson Hocevar. And number 3, and I cannot say this enough, I hate NASCAR officiating with a burning passion. I know hate is a strong word, but I-H-A-T-E, capital, all caps, hate NASCAR officiating. Let's just jump into the finish. Final lap. So off of turn number 4, Kyle Larson, he has the lead 3 wide behind him, but you see on the outside lane, Christopher Bell gets a good push from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Coming to the final lap, Bell gets to Larson's outside to take the lead while they are scrambling for position, bouncing off of each other, heading into turn number 1. Bell and Larson again remain side by side, continuously side drafting off of each other, but then Hocevar gets a great run off of turn number 2. Hocevar closing in, decides to push Bell entering the corner, and then Hocevar manages to squeeze through the middle, 3 wide for the line, and yeah, caution flies. Josh Berry involved, Justin Haley involved. Now at the moment of caution, it was Christopher Bell who would get the win to score his 10th career victory in the NASCAR Cup Series, his first at Atlanta, and his first win since Loudon last June. But yeah, we just gotta get this out of the way. NASCAR, can you please stop being consistently inconsistent? Like, you are making the FIA look like saints at this point. Now, I know what Ellen Sawyer said earlier today. He said that the conclusion of the Xfinity race yesterday was a mistake. It was a mistake that they let that go on way too long, that they should have thrown a yellow at that. Fair enough. But what about Daytona on Sunday? That stayed green the entire time. So again, this is my issue with NASCAR. I would be okay with that. Like, them throwing the caution is not an issue because I can understand them throwing a caution for that. The problem is that they decide to throw a caution or keep it green depending on the shape or the direction of the moon is, whether it's a waxing crescent or of a full moon. They decide, oh, we're going to throw a caution, or oh, we're going to keep it green. That's what's so frustrating. And the thing is, I know for a fact when we go to Talladega or we come back to Atlanta in June, we're going to have another issue like this where we see NASCAR possibly keep it green. It's just so frustrating. When I'm calmed down, I'm kind of all over the place, but calm down. I understand why NASCAR threw the caution. We all would have loved to see. We were going to get an encore performance with Bell on the outside, Hocevar in the middle, and Larson on the inside. Just a repeat what happened last year. But I understand them throwing the caution. However, my issue is that this is, again, another major flaw with NASCAR and them being consistently inconsistent with officiating. And again, guarantee you, the super speed we're going to have at Talladega, one of those races, either Xfinity, Cup, whatever, they're going to have an issue where NASCAR did a stupid call by either keeping it green or deciding to throw a caution. That's just the issue. It is so inconsistent and it is so frustrating. For the second week in a row, we have to deal with one of the main stories being not how beautiful of a race this was. This was a fantastic race, a record amount of lead changes at 50. This had everything you wanted in a super speedway race. This was classic super speedway racing, what we saw in the old days before the repeat of Daytona and Talladega. This is what super speedway racing should be. We're going to get into the race part in a little bit, but instead of talking about that, we now have to once again talk about NASCAR and officiating. And once again, I'm pretty sure more than likely Elton Sawyer is talking to the media as we speak. I don't know because I'm recording this right after the finish, but I'm just so sick and tired of it. And it just kills the vibe. It kills the emotions of how we should feel during a race. Again, we should only be talking about how fantastic this race was. But instead, we're only going to be talking about the final lap and NASCAR's officiating. And that is so frustrating that has to be almost weekly at this point. Now let's take a look at the race results here. Bell wins. Second is Hocevar. We're going to talk about Hocevar in a little bit. Same thing with Larson. Ryan Blaney in fourth. He was taken out by Hocevar just with around 30 or so laps ago in the race, not too long ago, and rebounds for a top 5 finish. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in fifth. Denny Hamlin in sixth after starting third to last, 37th on the grid, ends up with a top 10 finish. Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, and John Nemechek back-to-back top 10 runs. What a turnaround so far for the 42 team this season. Zane Smith in 11th, Joey Logano in 12th, Michael McDowell in 13th. He was 6 laps down because he went into the garage for a power steering issue, was 6 laps down, and managed to finish on the lead lap in 13th. I don't know how, but that is a win for that 71 group. AJ Allmendinger, Todd Gilliland, Austin Dillon, Riley Herbst, Ryan Preece, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Elliott, the top 20. Now, Chase Elliott was involved in a crash earlier in the race thanks to contact between Chase Briscoe and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That broke a toe link on Elliott's car, and then Elliott spins and gets hit by Brad Keselowski, taking them both out. Briscoe in 21st, Shane Van Gisbergen in 23rd. Then some other drivers were involved in accidents. Justin Haley and Josh Berry, Alex Bowman and William Byron, they were involved in accidents, as well as Austin Cindric. This is in the closing laps of the race. Kyle Larson made a very questionable block coming off of turn number 2 where he was not clear and just squeezed Cindric into the wall. Cindric spins and taking out Byron. Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher. Buescher was involved. He crashed, taking out Alex Bowman, Eric Jones, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, Noah Gragson, Cody Ware, Cole Custer, and J.J. Yaley, as well as Corey LaJoie. They were involved in an accident again earlier in the race, a multi-car pileup. So that's why they finished so low, and Brad Keselowski ends up in 39th place. So yeah, overall, my thoughts on the race. From lap 1 until the final lap, beautiful, amazing, loved it. Quintessential super speedway racing. That's a 10 out of 10. Again, Atlanta just delivers. I need to go to Atlanta. I want to go to a race at Atlanta. I will admit when I'm wrong. Atlanta killed it with this new reconfiguration. This race at first seemed to be primarily dominated by the Fords. They obliterated stage 1, stage 2 for the most part. They also took control over, but then we started to see the Chevrolets and the Toyotas. Kyle Larson won stage 2. We also saw, the Toyota groups of Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick. They were really the biggest, the best Toyota drivers. They were the ones that were usually up towards the front. The other Joe Gibbs drivers, they were mainly in the back. Hamlin, we really didn't see until near the second half of stage 3. Bell, I'm pretty sure was nowhere to be found. He only led 1 lap, and that was a lap that counted. Ty Gibbs, he had his issues, and Chase Briscoe also had his issues. So besides 2311, specifically Bubba and Tyler, Toyota was virtually nowhere to be found until the finish. Carson Hocevar, I mentioned him. First off, great drive, but wow, he should have caused at least 5 accidents. I don't know how, but he was driving like a crazed lunatic. And Kyle Busch was not too happy with the moment between him and Hocevar at the end of stage 1. Take a listen.
Go tell that 77 he's done that same fucking move 10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole fucking field. I'm over him. He's a fucking douchebag. I'm going to wreck his ass.
So yeah, he was pissing off Busch. He was pissing off Blaney. When Ross Chastain has to give you a lecture about aggressive driving, yeah, you got a little bit overboard. So it was a great drive by Carson. I love the energy, and I also love what he said at the end of the race. But listen, I'm here to win. I'm not here to be in a boy band and make friends. I get that, but just be careful. Be careful, Carson. You're kind of reverting back to your old Truck Series ways, and that did not help you at all, especially if you're trying to make it in the Cup Series, because they will not take up with your BS. But yeah, overall, it was just kind of like what we expected nowadays with Atlanta, that classic super speedway racing where tires matter. Ryan Blaney drove through the field because he started at the back after he got hit by Carson Hocevar and drove through the field because he had fresher tires. He had better handling, better grip. It matters now at a track like Atlanta where you cannot really do many things with your car depending on how your car handles. If you have the grip, if you have the tires to be able to make the moves you want to make. We saw drivers like Austin Cindric, Josh Berry. I mean, they were one of the class of the field, especially the 2-car of Cindric. He was very good, very clean, did the right moves he needed to make. Unfortunately, Larson basically took him out. I mean, Larson has a tendency of doing things like that where he just clears himself, even if he's not clear, and that has hurt him in one way, shape, or another. It didn't hurt him this Sunday, but it has hurt him in the past. And that is one thing that I absolutely do not like with what Larson does. But aside from that, Larson, surprisingly for the first time in God knows how long, but he finished, not only he finished a race, but he finished a top 5 at a drafting track. When was the last time we saw that happen? Oh yeah, and one more thing, I forgot to say this, commercials. Wow, commercials. Again, NASCAR, I will pay. I don't care how much. If it's $15 a month, I don't care. I will pay for ad free. If you have some type of NASCAR TV or NASCAR network, kind of like what F1 has, I will pay for that. No questions asked, because oh my days, the amount of commercials, and I get it. I get that with Fox going side by side more, so you wouldn't miss any action of racing, and you were still able to see the racing action even on side by side. I get that, but I swear it was happening every 10 laps. Like, I'm not joking. Every 3 or 4 minutes, boom, commercial, boom, commercial, boom, commercial. It's like, okay, at this point in time, the racing is interrupting my commercials. That's what it felt like at that point. So much so that for the majority of the race, I was more focused on Max and their in-car cameras. Obviously, I had it on Bubba Wallace and a couple other drivers, but I was more focused on that than the actual race broadcast, just because of how many times they cut in and out of commercial. And when they did show race coverage, it was right back to the old Fox ways. Zoomed in cameras so much. Again, over-reliance on onboard cameras, especially the rear bumper, missing accidents because of the abundance of commercials. Like, they had a Toyota all-out commercial and completely miss an accident. And it was also kind of funny because in that Toyota all-out commercial, they also showed on the same screen, Ty Gibbs just stopped on the back straightaway. So that was kind of funny. But just the overabundance of commercial and advertisement is one of the things that is hurting the growth of NASCAR, hurting American broadcasting, because IndyCar also, they're going to have a major issue when they go to Fox next Sunday at St. Petersburg. The overabundance on commercials is hurting the growth of NASCAR. And that is why F1, they have excelled so much, especially in the US, is because there are no commercials. There is no interruption of flow in the race. So again, I don't know if they can do that with this new TV deal, but definitely down the line, please, NASCAR, please, 2032, maybe with the new TV deal, have a NASCAR network, because it is desperately needed. So yeah, overall, the race was amazing. Besides the coverage, the actual broadcast, commercials, and the officiating of the race, other than that, I loved the race. So I will give it a 10 out of 10 on racing. Everything else gets a big fat F. But what are your thoughts on the race? Let me know in the comment section down below if you liked it. What are your thoughts on the finish? Did you think that NASCAR should have thrown the caution, or do you think they should have kept it green? Again, leave all your suggestions in the comments down below. Until next time, my name is Jed from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.